teams expected to be at the top of the ACC aren't doing great at the moment. Grayson Singleton of Locked On SMU is here after I'm sorry, Grayson, we got to call it a collapse there at the end against Baylor to lose that game at home, up 14 points with about 5 minutes to go. I mean, that was very not good for Rhett Lashley and company, a program that was in the playoff last year. And look, I had them pegged as, yeah, they're good, but they're not making the playoff again this year. That was a really bad outcome. How was it received on your end?
Well, on my end, it made me pretty mad. And I have never seen a secondary in the Power Four be so perfectly rated. And, I had a lot of hope for the secondary because, you had the two returning safeties, Ahmad Moses, Isaiah Wokobia, and you thought, okay, they could be a bookends of a good secondary room that the corners may not be as great. Boy, was I wrong, and boy, was everybody else right, because anytime you looked at any national projection of SMU's defense this year, everybody kept coming back to that corner room is going to be a problem. And lo and behold, it was. They got no pressure on Sawyer Robertson. They didn't even blitz Sawyer Robertson much in the second half, which is what I talked about on Locked On SMU on Monday. And it showed. They just let him just pick them apart. And he just continued to pick them apart and pick them apart and pick them apart. And that combined with some questionable play calling on that second to last SMU drive of regulation where they decided to throw the ball on 3rd down and 4, even though they were getting 6 yards of carry with TJ Harden. All that combined, it was a collapse. It was a collapse by the players, mostly on defense. And then also I thought the coaching staff didn't do a great job.
Yeah, the defense definitely a problem. You should never score 45 points and lose, and yet SMU managed to do that on their home field, by the way. And the disappointing thing here for the Mustangs, Grayson, is that they were so close to getting that cloud out from over their heads of finally beating Baylor. And you thought, here we go, it's finally here, and then it wasn't. Now, this does not affect their ability to make the ACC championship game. It does affect their ability to make the playoff considerably, because last year you were 11-1, lose the title game 11-2, and you're in. I don't know that unless they go unbeaten in conference play, I don't know if an at-large playoff berth is in their future. We'll see how things shake out. Florida State, coming into the year, I was down on them, and look at them now. So a lot of things, the perception of teams on a schedule could change. But for SMU, I look at the offense and say, this is what I expected to be. I liked the TJ Harden pickup at running back. He looked good on Saturday. Yeah. I knew Kevin Jennings was good. I know Rhett Lashley's a good play caller. Can SMU fix this and make another run to the ACC championship game?
Yeah, they can fix it. They certainly can fix it, and that was the topic of my show on Tuesday. I'm glad you brought that up, because their road to the college football playoff is still alive. If they run the table in the ACC in the regular year and get to the ACC championship game, I do think they get in, because even if they lose the ACC championship game, if they run the table in the regular season, they will have a win over what will likely be a top 12 ranked Clemson, what will likely be, especially at this point in time, a top 10 ranked Miami team. That should be good enough, given that you would have also beaten Louisville, who is a team that, a lot of people are thinking could be pretty good. That could be good enough that if you get to the ACC championship game, if you lose it, you could be in that 11-12 range on the fringe of the college football playoff. Now, here's why I think they can fix it, though. They are very good in the trenches. And as long as you are good in the trenches foundationally, a lot of the other stuff can round itself into form and you'd be okay. Offensive line, they are an excellent run blocking team. Pass pro, they're a B to B minus pass pro team, but in terms of run blocking, given the running backs that they brought in, TJ Harden from UCLA, Chris Johnson Jr. from Miami, they have a solid run game. They are also very good on the defensive line as well. Now, don't let the last part of the Baylor game tell the story on the entire defensive line. They played way too many snaps. They got into a track meet with a team that you should not get into a track meet with, and their defensive coordinator never blitzed. So they were really caught in a disadvantageous situation. But if you're good in the trenches and their offense is going to score a hell of a lot of points, that defense should not give up 40 points every single game. And I do believe because of that, they should be okay. And that cornerback room, while it may never be great, it can get better. So, all in all, I think their road to the college football playoff is still alive, and they can certainly round into a better form, especially because this is a team that even last year did not play well at the beginning of the year, but as the season went on, became the best versions of themselves.
That's true. They had a 3-point home loss to a good Big 12 team last year in BYU, wound up running the table, more favorable schedule. My hesitation is just that they've got both Clemson and Miami in there.
Yeah.
But at the moment, Grayson, my larger hesitation is about them going against Miami because Clemson, oh boy. Oh boy. So my preseason national championship pick, the Clemson Tigers. I'm not the only one that put them in that echelon, that put them on that tier and placed those expectations.
I had them in my Final Four.
Yeah. I'm officially, I wasn't worried coming out of the LSU game. I thought, wow, that's a bad loss, I think, but not the worst loss imaginable. Then they go and are trailing 16-0 against Troy. I mean, that's a Troy program that people would be surprised how much they've won in the last several years. That's where John Sumrall came from. He's now the head coach at Tulane. He'll be a head coach in the SEC within the next 2 to 3 years. I look at what they did last week, and it was the same sort of symptoms that we saw in the first week against LSU that caused them to lose, which is the offense isn't there. It looks discombobulated. It looks out of sorts. It does not look like a veteran quarterback with the same offensive coordinator and same head coach. Where are you at with Clemson right now? Because this is another metric for, I think, the rest of college football and the committee to look at the ACC right now and say, yeah, this is why we're going to fade ACC teams when it comes to playoff selection time, because Clemson's supposed to be your top team, and look at how they're playing right now.
Miami is certainly the class of the ACC right now. I mean, that's how you have
clearly
to look at it. I mean, that's evident. But you're exactly right. Very little do you see veteran quarterback who's been in the system with a veteran offensive coordinator like Garrett Riley is, and they've got players there that have been in the program around the quarterback and offensive coordinator, and their offense looks so out of sync. I mean, it's really strange how just they don't have a flow to certain parts of their offense. Now, it is 2 weeks into the year, and college football doesn't have a preseason. So I think that does have to sort of neutralize any sort of out of sync that you might have, except that Clemson's kind of the only offense in the top 10, top 15 that looks like that outside of Florida, and they just, tumbled out of the rankings.
That's not a top 15 team. Some people knew that coming into this year. Some podcast hosts I heard.
You and I both thought Florida was highly overranked.
Who could have seen that Billy Napier isn't actually? Yeah. Anyway, continuing. Continue.
No, but no. The fact that Clemson. Look, I'm not surprised that Clemson got out physicaled by LSU. LSU is a very physical SEC team. There's no shame in being out physical to them. But the fact that they couldn't dominate at the line of scrimmage and impose their will on Troy until the second half.
Yeah.
Look, when you have teams that play down to their competition, even if they do it for a quarter, even if they do it for a half, that is a red flag that should be carried with you for the entire season, because you never know when a team that shows something like that is just going to lay an egg and not show up one day. No, there's a real concern around Clemson right now, I think.
Yeah, I'll be talking more this week about Clemson's game against Georgia Tech. I've had that game circled all offseason as, hey, this is going to be fun, and I tell you what.
What percent chance do you give Georgia Tech to win that game?
I don't think, in good conscience, since they're at home, I could give them any lower than 45%. I really don't. I think that Clemson is just, they are stuck, and they're going to try and figure it out against a team who prides themselves on physicality and trench play. If I had to rank my trench play teams in the ACC, I'm going Miami number 1. I'm probably putting Georgia Tech number 2. I should be putting Clemson, but what in the world was that against Troy? They've got the talent. Certainly their defensive line is very good, but I need to see more out of the offensive line and the running game from Clemson. And the ACC as a whole needs to see more out of Clemson, or else the 2-bid performance from last year in the college football playoff that I talked about yesterday is going to be an uphill battle if existing at all for the Big 12. It might not be there for the ACC. You have to have the right sort of circumstances, and right now it doesn't look like they're moving in that particular direction unless you get. Really, what you have to have for the Big 12 or ACC is 2 11+ win teams squaring off in your conference championship game. That's what you need, or an 11+ win team to lose the conference title game like last year. That's what it has to be.
Can't disagree with you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know it's a little early, perhaps, to talk playoff, but these are the results that matter. Like these outcomes right now.
Talk about what college football is through the lens of how do you make the college football playoff. It's not
unfortunately, that is the world that we live in. Some of us just like to enjoy the regular season games, which we do. But these outcomes are the ones that the committee's going to look back and go, "Oh, see, remember that? Oh, we're going to punish you there." So you best not forget. Grayson Singleton, Locked On SMU. Great as always, my man. I appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time. And until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.